Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to give you directions on how to complete a pivotal passage analysis, which is going to be something that we're working on throughout this entire unit as we read things fall apart. So there's going to be a lot of important directions in this video. So it's really important that you're reading the slides carefully, you're following along, so that you understand what a pivotal passage is. So if you don't know, the word pivotal means something is of crucial importance. So we're going to be picking out paragraphs and sections of the text from Things Fall Apart that are really important, crucial moments to the plot. Maybe they're things that help us understand our protagonist Okonkwo better, or they describe a really important conflict happening in the text. And then after we have a passage, like a paragraph or a section of the book, we are going to be analyzing it and picking out different literary devices that Chinua Achebe uses in the text. So literary devices, you've probably talked about these before in your English classes. You should have in front of you a handout that actually lists all of these literary devices that you're going to be looking for in the text. So literary devices are things like, you might know, imagery. That is when an author appeals to your five senses, like they help you picture and see what's happening in the text, or maybe they describe what you're hearing or what you're feeling, what you're smelling, what you're tasting, and it really brings it to life in a vivid way. The first one is diction. So diction is a literary device that talks about word choice, like why does the author use specific words, and what meaning do those words convey? So for Things Fall Apart, think about the way that Chinua Achebe uses Igbo words in this book. He really intentionally chose to incorporate words that were native to his village and his community in this book. We also have figurative language is a big one for literary devices, and that's things like alliteration, so repeating the same letter sound over and over. Metaphor is a big one that Chinua Achebe uses, so comparing two unlike things, saying one thing is another thing. For example, in chapters 1 through 4, he describes yams as the king of crops. So he's comparing the yam plant to royalty because it's such a significant and important crop to their community. We also have symbolism, right? When an object, a person, or a thing is used to represent a bigger idea or theme in the book. We're also looking for idioms. We talked about those yesterday. And proverbs, like those little life lessons that we're going to find throughout the text. You might also look at tone, like what is the author's mood conveying in this book? Is it excited or passionate or angry or happy or hopeful? So those are examples of literary devices. And again, use this handout as you read to try and identify some of these literary devices in the text. You also should have a blank copy of the analysis sheet in front of you. So this handout that I'm going to give you in class is exactly the same as page 11 of your packet, where it says pivotal passage in the packet. But I want you to do it actually on this sheet, just because there's more space to write. So it's exactly the same, but do it on this sheet instead of in the packet. You're also going to need your book with you because we're reading chapters 1 through 4 this week. And you can complete this pivotal passage worksheet with a partner if you choose to do so. So that would mean that you would both write your name on this one sheet of paper and you would just turn in one copy for both of you. So now that I've talked through all of the different worksheets you should have and the different resources, I am going to explain what it means to fill out the analysis sheet. So on your analysis sheet, you'll see 3 different columns. The first asks you to put the quote from the text. So for this pivotal passage, you are going to be choosing a paragraph from the text that you think is important. So you don't have to write the entire paragraph here, but choose some quotes to include from the paragraph in this left column. In the middle column, you are going to identify what literary devices are present in this passage. So did you find examples of imagery, maybe a metaphor? What is the tone of this passage, or is there symbolism? And you are going to write those literary elements in the middle column. For this assignment, you only need to identify 2 literary devices. So you only need 2, and you'll write them here. If you find more than 2, great. You're really good at identifying literary devices, but you only need 2 this week. This third column on the far right here is probably going to be the most difficult for you to fill out. But it's asking you to think about the so what. Like, why is this literary device important, and how is it adding meaning to the plot of the book? So why is that element used in this passage? Why is it significant? For this one, this week, this might be kind of difficult because we're new to the book, right? You don't know that much about the plot. You don't know that much about the protagonist, Okonkwo. So it might be kind of hard to identify why the literary device is important. But I want you to give it your best shot. Maybe just explain like what the imagery is describing. So Achebe uses imagery to emphasize the sound that you would hear if you were in their village and the feel of the warm sun and the fresh air. So this is how you are going to fill out the chart. You're choosing one passage, finding two literary devices or elements, and then explaining the significance here. So you can think about it like finding the passage is the what, and then identifying which literary devices is the how, like how is Chinua Achebe communicating? And then this third column is the so what. Why does it matter? Why is it significant? I also wanted to frame that this worksheet and this pivotal passage analysis is preparing us for the mid-unit and the final summative for this unit. So like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of these throughout the unit. This first one, I will give you feedback on. We'll make sure you're on the right track so that you'll be successful on our summatives. The mid-unit and final, you'll do that on your own, and you'll be given a choice of two passages that I will choose, and then you will complete the analysis of like identifying literary devices and writing a paragraph response. On Schoology, I've posted all of these slides, and you have access to a student example from past years of what a really successful pivotal passage analysis looks like. The rubric is also linked on these slides so that you can see how you will be graded. For this week, just focus on completing this worksheet with a partner if you choose, choosing a passage, finding two literary elements, and talking about why they're significant. So go ahead and start working on this. We're reading chapters 1 through 4, and this will be due on Friday.